Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good afternoon, General Mosikili.
Good afternoon, Honorable
I
Mayor.
said Mosikili. That's what I said. I suspect you're waiting for me to make a mistake, so to correct me. So you say you were the primary recipient of the 31st December letter.
If the two of us are primary,
You-
myself as the National Commissioner and this, okay,
You were supposedly the receiver in chief.
as the acting National Commissioner is.
Are you aware that Mr. Brown Mogotsi and Mr. Ket Matlala had the letter before you saw it?
I had during the testimonies over time that they have received.
How does that make you feel? A letter addressed to you because you are busy in the operations on the ground, which is good. A letter that was directed to you and the National Commissioner is circulating among civilians when you have not even applied your mind on it so that you are able to brief the National Commissioner properly.
It was concerning and it is still concerning. I'm not sure if it was not received simultaneously between myself and the two persons that you are referring. I don't know at what point did they receive the email, but I think I have clarified that the email can be confirmed that I did receive at 17:20. It's just that I did not see that email at the time that it was sent. What time did they receive? It might be that we have received it at the same time because it was sent from another source, which is the Chief of Staff.
Yeah, when you were busy on the ground on the first day of 2025, and us busy were enjoying New Year, Mr. Matlala and Mr. Mogotsi were sharing the directives on WhatsApp.
It will appear.
That's evidence that we have here in the committee. Now, let's say, I want to get your thinking. General Masemula takes a leave effective from the 31st of December 2024 and is likely to return on the 14th of January 2024. The letter is written on the 31st of December, the day General Masemula departs. And the instruction is that the report must be brought to the minister on the 14th of January 2025 for signature. That's what it said here yeah, you said on paragraph 11 that the leave is 31st to the 13th of January. And the report is expected to be signed off on the 14th of January. So in the eye of a layperson like me, it would be seen that this matter was rushed to be completed within the time General Masemula was not in office. What's your take on that?
The 14th is the date that the National Commissioner will report back to office. So it was to be presented to him when he comes back. Not to action the letter, but to prepare the report. I did indicate that I engage him immediately looking at the gravity of the letter and seeking his advice as the accounting officer. And he said he will deal with the matter when he comes back.
On the 3rd of January, a letter is sent to, amongst others, General Spear to prepare a report. What date was the report prepared for?
14,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
when the National Commissioner is back in office,
That's what I'm saying.
to prepare the report, not to action the directive.
To prepare the report
To the National Commissioner on the 14th.
for
The report
the
as-
actioning of the directives. What was the report for?
The directive of the letter was prepare the report that shall be presented to me on the 20th of January.
Yeah.
In order for the National Commissioner to prepare for the 20th, remember it's 3 issues that were highlighted on the directive. So 3 reports that were to be presented to him. 1, border policing, disbandment, and the freezing of the post. So the directive was prepared specifically with General Sipia because General Sipia said to me, I also have contacted the National Commissioner and he directed that we prepare the report. So that email was to prepare the report. And it was specific on General Sipia, prepare the report, not disband. On
Okay.
the email, it says prepare the report that shall be tabled before the National Commissioner on the 14th.
Okay,
I'm just
please,
trying to track.
please explain to us the relevance of Major General Sebola Letoko Mlandu SA on the contents of the letter.
My reference to
I
the,
like how you explain that the Mogotsi you are talking about is not that other one.
anticipating this question. Anticipating the question that it must be clear
Yeah.
which Mogotsi received the letter. So I think the relevance of that paragraph was just to give account of who received the email. Hence, I have mentioned all the names of the
Yeah,
people.
but the point is, what are their relevance to the contents of the letter? Remember what Nqola was speaking about, why was the letter not sent to the National Commissioner, which is the acting National Commissioner, in this case yourself? What is the relevance of the other recipients to the letter?
I would not know the discussion between the chief of staff and the minister to whom should the letter be sent. But when I received the email, it was also
But in
addressed
their,
to them.
in their scope of work, is there anything that is related to the PKTT or the unit or the task teams?
Other than they are in the office of the minister.
Okay.
And Letoko, and I think you ask about Sibula and Letoko, they are in the office of the
And
National
Mlandu.
Mlandu and any other person other than the first 4 recipients are in the office of the minister.
Okay.
15.1.2.3 and 15.4,
Okay.
as well as paragraph 16, all those members are in the office of the minister.
Okay. Let's go to paragraph 16. You say the chief of staff said the email reflected the email address reflected is that of a staff member in the office of the minister.
At the time when I was compiling this report, I did not remember on the 3rd of January whether he said it belongs to Mr. Mlandu or any other person that is not here, because there's one member in the office of the minister that is not here that I know. It's always also working in the office of the minister. So I do not recall. I don't want to make that mistake again.
But
of
what you are sure about
reference.
is that he
He
said
said,
is one of the staff members in the
Yes.
minister's office.
yes.
Yeah, but on record here, he has said this email belongs to Minister Senzomkun himself.
Hence, I'm saying I don't want to lie whom, but he did indicate it belongs to one
And
of
it
the.
does seem that there is confirmation to that effect.
Thank you.
Okay, let's pass. Now you see this letter that there is an intention to deactivate the existence of the PKTT. What then, as the acting national commissioner, what became your reaction to it, your first reaction to it? Please take us through.
I became confused.
What was confusing? Because it does seem like in the letter it's specific on 3 particular aspects of what the minister intends to do.
The tone confused me.
Okay.
the tone of
Take
the
us through. What did you think about it?
as the person who has some experience in operations, if you are to call off the operation, it will at least give the team a time frame of 3 months or so that other processes should be undertaken. So what confused me at the time was it cannot be correct. It cannot be true that I'm seeing or hearing that the team should be disbanded, and the team that has been working for this long, that are having the dockets that were problematic cold cases, the nature of that particular task team that has the investigative capacity. I think the majority of what the task team was doing was the dockets, and more than 100 dockets that were in their possession. It was not going to be feasible for the team to be disbanded in the manner and the tone. I think the tone that I'm referring to is the word that has been going around. I don't know how to spell it.
Which one?
I can't spell it.
Immediately.
Yes.
So according to you, immediately means what?
Now,
We have made a serious, numerous interpretations.
me, it's now.
It's now.
Yes.
Okay. So what was the reaction of the National Commissioner when you informed him of the letter?
He appears not to, the specific words is that I have received this WhatsApp because I think all of us called him that morning. I was not the first person to call him. And on the 31st, the team informed me that they have sent him the WhatsApp sensitizing him of the email that the minister have sent. And he said he did not apply that much attention on it. And now that we are calling, what he will guide me, because the purpose of my call was for guidance, it's that we need to continue or start the process of preparing the reports, and he will deal with the matter when he comes back.
Okay.
Because I did not see him, he was on the other side. I can only imagine having interacted with him.
But what is confusing us is that numerous testimonies before the ad hoc committee say there had been numerous meetings set in preparation for the dissolution of the PKTT and numerous task teams. So your confusion is confusing us also. But if that's the case, you are the top brass of the South African Police Service. You ought to know that there is a plan to do away with task teams on the basis of effectiveness, on the basis of the study. And what's the name of the study?
Murray report.
Yeah, there's a study
It's
that,
called Murray report.
that actually helped the department to look at the organizational design. There's an issue of the budget as well. Now, if you are the acting National Commissioner on the 31st, but both you and the National Commissioner are surprised with the letter when there would have been preparatory meetings towards the letter.
Because in my recollection, there wasn't preparatory meeting to disband the PKTT.
Okay.
In my recollection, it might have happened in the meetings that I was not part of. In the meetings where I was part of, reference will be the meeting that was held on the 1st of November, 2024. Mention was made to present what the task teams are, what are they doing. The work study came to the fore, and recall this work study, it's 2019 work study. We are in 2025. So it cannot be that there was a engagement in preparation for the dismantlement of the PKTT. That's one point. The second point, that it will not be correct that it was preparing. When the minister took office, all the task teams that were in existence were presented to the office of the minister. So he was aware of the number of task teams that are national intervention task teams, and he said he will support them. They cannot be disbanded because he's in office. He will support the operations, he will support the National Commissioner on operational matters, and he will guide on policy matters.
Okay.
And shortly before the establishment, I think in December of the same year, there was a new task team in the purview of the minister that was sent to Eastern Cape to deal with the taxi killings. And taxi killings were also mentioned on the letter of the 1st of November. So it's November, we mentioned the PKTT, you also mentioned the taxi killings. But in December, there is a direction to intervene in Eastern Cape because there was a problem with the cases of tax, and it were dockets as well in that space. There was a problem in the Western Cape. I have sent the team, Lockdown 3, in the Western Cape to deal with Cape Flat. So it cannot be that task teams should be disbanded.
Okay, so I take it from your statement that both you and the National Commissioner were ready to accede to the call for the dissolution of the PKTT, except to the fact that the mannerism, the manner in which the task team ought to be disbanded was the crux for different views on the approach. Is that so? That you were ready to do it, but you had a different form of doing it.
It's correct, which is the standard procedure that we undertake when you dissolve the team that has been established.
What stopped you from proceeding with that, with the dissolution process?
That is why the presentation of the gradual or winding down, because with every operation that you have prior to the dissolution,
I'm
you
saying,
will
General
have-
Mosikili, the letter has not been withdrawn. It's the 3rd of March today, 2026. The letter was returned on the 31st of December, 2024. What has stopped you from proceeding for the dissolution of the PKTT?
because there was no conclusive directive to dissolve.
Okay.
On the 6th of March 2025, the direction was to have a revised plan that talks to the winding down of the team or gradual disbandment of the team.
Okay. So do you think that the directive to disband the existence of the PKTT must proceed? No, I'm not putting you in a corner. I see how you are looking at me. Do you think that we should proceed?
It's a task team. And if
Look, I'm asking this because we're investigating this matter,
it's,
and there are a lot of allegations surrounding it. We are concluding our process. We are to make findings, we are to make recommendations. So would you advise us to recommend that, well, the directive, there's nothing wrong with the directive, and therefore the dissolution must proceed?
the fact that we presented or advised on the gradual
Yeah, even if it's
demobilization,
gradual, even if it's immediate, even if it's sudden, but generally the dissolution itself, would you advise us to recommend that there must be process on dissolution of the PKTT? What is your take?
which might be replaced by another task team because
Why?
task teams are still continuing and we still
No, we
establish
don't know
task.
about what will replace it. We're talking about the PKTT.
I will not advise.
Okay. So did General Masemula over the phone with you brief you that he has spoken with General Sbe over the phone over this matter?
No,
Why on paragraph 25 do you sound like you doubt if even the call between General Masemula and General Sbe was in existence?
because he did not make.
You say at the end, I don't know whether that conversation with the National Commission actually took place or not. That's casting doubt on what General Sbe is saying. Why do you think that there is a possibility of him lying about the call?
Not necessarily lying, but because I spoke to the National Commissioner and National Commissioner did not confirm speaking to other people on.
To ask him if he has spoken to any person.
I did not ask him.
Okay. So we get the information about the phone call for the first time from General Spear, but you are casting doubt on it.
It was my
Why do you think that it's possible that General Spear can come and lie to the acting national commissioner about a phone call between him and his boss?
maybe not to lie, but my concern was, why do you talk to the national commissioner knowing very well that the national commissioner is on leave?
No. You say you don't know if General Spear briefs you about his cell phone and Masemola's first cell phone. And you say you don't know if this thing he is telling you is actually correct.
I did not know, but I did not make follow-up with the national commissioner if he has spoken to General Spear or not. I did not do
You
it.
hold General Spear in high regard. Apologies for putting you in a corner, but please answer.
I don't,
You don't know.
don't.
Do you think that General Spear is the rotten apple you are talking about?
Until proven, no.
So what
I
is your
don't think.
suspicion?
Until proven.
You are running away. Okay. Let's now talk you say on the 3rd of January, then the General Togo writes a letter to the affected sister departments or government entities that are part of the PKT, as it is a multidisciplinary team. No, you say on paragraph 27, Brigadier Litogo sent 3 emails to various heads affected. So you'd assume that it's NPA and everyone was part of the PKT. Or I don't know.
No, my reference here, it was supposed to be clear that within the department, because there were different other environments within SAPS itself that was affected by the directive.
Okay. Now I get you now that you explain it. So the PKTT is a product of a interministerial committee. Do you think that there should have been at least a resolution of the interministerial committee for the deactivation of the PKTT and a possible replacement to the PKTT as a recommendation?
I think so, and I believe so.
You believe so?
Yes.
We have asked here Mr. Cedric Nkabinde of what becomes his role in the SMS meetings. And he said it's only to support the minister. Are you telling us that the chief of staff actively participate in deep policing matters in the senior management meetings, and he would have actually lied to Parliament?
I think I also confirmed that his role, he's a senior manager. Remember, he's a chief director. In that position of chief of staff, he do support the minister. And it's a common practice that the minister cannot sit alone. You will need somebody that will assist, especially at the level of the chief of staff, because he is the chief of staff that will, after the meeting, have to direct different directorates within the minister's space for the reports, including to keep the minutes of the meeting. So it wasn't wrong for Mr. Nkabinde to be in that meeting.
So Mr. Nkabinde disagreed with you and General Masemola that there must be a processed way of deactivating the PKTT, and said immediately. Do you think that the deactivation was rushed?
I believe so, yes.
Do you think there were external forces influencing the rush?
With the evidence that has been laid in different platforms, again, if proven, I will say, yeah, this suspicion or these allegations were informed by these particular forces outside of the service.
Okay. So you have mistaken on paragraph 33. I was glad that you corrected it on the supplementary affidavit, because I was asking the chief whip here on the correctness of your paragraph 33. At that time, the chief whip was a leader in KwaZulu-Natal. So because Mr. Senzo Mchunu was last a premier in KwaZulu-Natal in 2016. So have you mistaken him with Willis Mchunu?
That's correct.
Okay, so you officially withdrew that.
I have officially withdrew it. It was a pure mistake, and I profusely apologize for making such a mistake.
Apology accepted.
Thank you.
What parts of the directive do you think that are impeding or tampering with operational issues?
The filling of the posts for me have adverse, which even to date, we are unable to, KZN in particular that has a vacancy, Western Cape has a vacancy of the head. As we all know that this is one of the four provinces that we are having problems. If filling of the post and senior management posted, the department has, in terms of the DPSA, have only 3 months to fill them. Not that other posts are filled, but the critical nature of the crime intelligence in the police, I believe it is way too much. 1, 2, operations, with my experience in the operations and how operations are developed, what needs to go into the plan of demobilizing. Yes, I believe that was a concern for me. The third, on the border management, at first, the minister wanted the review, and we presented the review. As I've alluded earlier, that preceding meetings over time, it became clear that the presentation that was made to the minister was the incorrect one that might have informed him of wanting the review. Although the initial letter did not say the police existence at the border needs to be reviewed. He just said, how are you going to work in that space to make sure that there is efficiency and effectiveness of the border management control in the country? So the first two issues, I think, yes.
Let's pass that part. Then your money gets stolen with your belongings. What did you say was the source of the money again?
S&T.
I didn't get you. Talk about funerals, you talk about a lot of things. What is the source of the 10,000 rands that was in your car and got stolen?
It was the S&T from the department as I was undertaking an
Why was it cash? Because it is our belief. We do have an S&T in Parliament as well, but it is directly deposited to the account you use for your salary. Why was it on cash in your car?
Normally, I take cash depending on when the approval was granted before the trip, because normally it will reflect on the account 2 days. Even coming here, I had to take cash to pay the hotel.
So you mean
it's
you
not-
mean
it's
Jerome
an-
Sigeti, Sure. Thank you. One of course, will proceed on the rotten April thing.
Yeah, he's on the microphone.
Let me check the time, it's 17:13. Right, I'll go up to 17:43, thank you. Ngiyakuthokoza Mgcinisidalo.
No. Before you start, we must explain this.
Sure.
Yeah. The first speaker, when they started speaking, it was at 41. And that is why when Honorable Nomvalo spoke, it was until 11. And then when Honorable Sols had to start questions, Honorable Matthews wanted to make a statement. And there has been a time lapse. So it must be explained why the lapse is now at 43, it's no longer at 41 or 42. And you have not started, yeah. That's why I want to check the time before you start speaking. So for the 2 minutes that we have used now, your time starts at 5:15. Yes, and then you will run for 30 minutes. Your time starts now.
Ngithokoze mgcini sihlalo. Ngiyakulotshisa General.
Dumela, honorable member.
Namhlanje ilanga labomma lokukhuluma isikhethu noma ngabe ukhuluma yiphi language ngicabanga ukuthi nesikhethu esiyasazi mhlambe ngibethe nesuthunyana lapha nesipedi mara ningangihleka ni mara ngizokhuluma isikhethu but for the sake of time ngizakubetha isikhuwa msinyane.
Is there language called skid?
Isikhethu isindebele.
Oh, I
Iye.
didn't know.
Uyasazi bari isindebele ngithi.
Ke mme wa ka Letebele sena.
Asindebele kindebele. Yeah, ngithokoze Lieutenant General, the Deputy Commissioner. Chair, I think in this country there was this misconception that the Deputy Commissioner is only General Sibiya. There's 3 Deputy Co-Commissioner and one of them I think is yourself, am I right?
Yes, you're correct.
And you've been in the police for many years. Your CV is very impressive, I must say. And I guess I'm going to start with one question which has been going on, and I've asked many generals about this matter of Senzo Meyiwa. I'm not sure whether you were still with the province at that time when Senzo Meyiwa was killed.
That's correct.
You were still with the province.
Yes, I was in the province.
Now, in your opinion, are you happy with that investigation from the police of Senzo Meyiwa? Let's forget about the court for now. What is happening in court is something else. But are you happy of what exactly happened in the scene where Senzo Meyiwa was killed in Vosloorus?
With what was presented to me by the team, I think they were still on the right track.
I'm sorry?
With what was presented to
Yes.
me by the team at the moment, I think I did indicated earlier that at the time that the incident happened, I was the acting provincial commissioner in the absence of the then provincial commissioner, Lieutenant General Mutiba.
Yes.
What was presented to me, I was satisfied that the team is still on the right track. What differs will be the pressure that the team had to finalize the case with speed.
So are you convinced that the people who were arrested are the right people?
I'm convinced.
And are you convinced that it was correct for General Sibiya to be on the scene on the day?
I called him.
I'm sorry?
I called him to the scene.
So it was correct for him to be in the scene because he said he was called by someone.
I called him. He should
Not
have said that.
necessarily you.
Yeah, but I'm confirming that it's me who called him. Maybe somebody else called, but I called him precisely because he was the provincial head of DPCI at the time.
Because what he presented on the Matlala Commission, he said that almost everyone who's in the DCPI was under him
In Gauteng.
in Gauteng.
Yes, he's correct.
Yeah. Now, I think the displeasure of the family and because of Senzo Meyiwa, he was the national hero. There's issues, there's holes. They poke a lot of holes in this matter. Hence, the matter is still in court. We are watching with interest of what is happening there. but there's an issue of unhappiness that the conduct of the police in that scene where Senzo was killed leaves much to be desired.
It is a regrettable state of affairs, but what the team presented at the time that they attended to the crime scene, hence the provincial leadership of the detectives, I believed that they did what was expected of them at the time.
So what was the role of General Sibia in that incident?
Normally with high profile cases, you will have a multidisciplinary team so that they can guide and assist one another. Both General Sibia and General Taiwe were the head of detectives. General Taiwe and General Sibia was the head of the Hawks.
So there's no interference at all, in your view?
From him, no. At the time, no.
At the time?
At the time. And
But
I will
of
qualify.
what we know now, what would be your view?
With what is presented, again, must be investigated and he must be proven.
Now, General, let's come to the statement. I just want us to clear these paragraph, and I think I said it to you, because you are under oath and, there's a case against you of perjury, so I don't want to compromise you. I just want us to clear this once and for all. Paragraph 29. On March 6, 2025, I attended a meeting with Minister, Commissioner, the Deputy National Commissioner, Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Sibia, Lieutenant General Kumalo, Chief of Staff, Kabinde, and the Regional Commissioner, Detective Forensic Service, Lieutenant General Sintumeling, and Lieutenant Colonel from Crime Intelligence, Lieutenant General Kumalo, made a presentation on PKTT at the meeting. And I think Honorable Nomvalo said it. I think he started to say the presentation proposed that this establishment and the disbandment of PKTT, if considered, will take form of transition from the National Political Task Team to the component serious and violent crime, murder and robbery within the division of the Detective and Forensic Services. Then when you go to paragraph 36, I do not recall any meeting in which it was suggested or even directed that the task team as a whole should be demobilized or disbanded. I can confirm that I was not in any meeting where the minister raised the issue of the PKTT, in particular on the disbandment of the PKTT. I can recall the initial engagement with the minister in terms that he should, whether certain operational matters and initiatives were presented, indicated that the new ministry support existing initiative and that the status quo of the current operational intervention in various provinces must be maintained. He reiterated that he has full confidence of the National Commissioner. Now, these two, they contradict each other. I would just want you to clear up, and then we start to depart on this, what we presented and what you have attached on your submission.
Paragraph 36 maybe chronologically was supposed to come before paragraph 29, but it's no, I will clarify that a confusion that you are raising. Paragraph 36, it's referring to matters prior to the letter of the 31st, meetings that were held prior to the meeting of the 31st. And I think I was looking at the minutes of the meeting of the 1st of November before the directive was issued. On paragraph 29, it is now where the team was requested to present, and we were discussing now, it's after the 31st of December 2024. And paragraph 36, it's making reference to any other meeting prior to the 31st of December 2024.
So it's the issue of the chronology here that
It's
it
the
was.
issue of chronology. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, General, because the issue of the PKTT is being exhausted many times here. Now, I just want to say that the honorable members, I think they've asked that because you've been in, I think at that time you were an acting National Commission, am I right?
That's correct.
And you only knew about the matter on the 2nd, not on the 1st, am I right?
I did not pick it up. It was on the email, but because it's festive season, it's the 31st. I did not open the laptop. I was on the ground.
Yeah, in
So
fact,
the
yeah.
emails I did not see, and I will not say the emails will be in the office. I have the iPad, I have the laptop, but because I was already on the ground, I did not see the email on the 31st.
Yeah, in fact, we were surprised because it happened on the 31st when everybody was in a good mood. In fact, the minister took that decision unilaterally. So, but I think that has been canvassed enough here in this committee. Let's come to this issue of Paul O'Sullivan. Paul O'Sullivan, do you have confidence in him?
I don't have confidence.
Do you have trust in him? Do you think that this so-called forensic, I call it fraud, for a forensic company, because of what is presented to me now, alleged for now. And I'll have some backing on that, but that will be the decision of this committee at the end, whether is it authentic or is it involved in all these shenanigans which happens in the top echelons of the SAPS and other security agencies in this country.
Okay. Maybe to conclude on the confidence part.
Yes.
That now, after everything that is happening, you do not just trust the person. I think the intuition of a police officer in me, you do not just trust. I think it was coming from there and after everything that was said. But in terms of forensic, I will not, without facts, doubt that the forensic investigation team that he was involved with was authentic.
Yeah. Yeah, because himself is not a qualified forensic investigator. I mean, we found out here he claimed to be an engineer, and now he knows beyond reasonable doubt that he's not. You know, but be that as it may, we will, because it's coming back here. Let me ask you now on this matter, because Honorable Mantes, I think, is the one who asked about him. Because it was alleged that the matter, let me start by asking you, do you know Bandile Masuku?
No,
Have you ever spoken to him?
no.
Now, because there was an allegation, why I'm saying that,
Bandile Masuku in Gauteng.
and MEC,
No, I know him.
at that time, you know him.
I know him.
Have you ever spoken to him?
No, I don't think so.
You don't remember?
Unless
maybe.
when we are attending an event in Gauteng.
Because if you remember well, there was an allegation because your Paul O'Sullivan and these some journalists, Stratcom journalists, Mariam Tam, you name them, Karin, the name is Van Veek, Paula Van Veek and others. There was an allegation that a forensic report which was commissioned by Gauteng Health MEC Bandile Masuku has cleared him of any wrongdoing in the Gauteng personal protective equipment scandal. And the allegation was that the person who in fact sent the integrity committee of the ANC and that you recommended Paul O'Sullivan to Bandile Masuku. And in return, Paul O'Sullivan made a report to clear Masuku, and he sent that report to the Integrity Committee of the African National Congress. But the allegation is that Paul O'Sullivan was recommended by yourself. Is that true?
It's not true.
Now, you never send any email which recommended Paul O'Sullivan or copy him or singing his praise on the issue of Jackie Sleepy.
No, I don't remember.
Are you aware that ANC Integrity Committee preferred Paul O'Sullivan on the report over the report of the SIU in concluding or alleged Masuku and Loiso involvement
I'm not aware.
in the PPE issue in Gauteng?
I'm not aware.
You're not aware at all.
No, no.
So you distance yourself from this.
I do distance myself. I did not recommend. I did not send email recommending.
So you never recommended Paul O'Sullivan anyway.
I don't remember doing so.
Now, is it true that the SAPS, in fact, let me start by asking you this question, because Paul O'Sullivan said he opened dockets. You can go to any of his interview. He'll say that I've opened a docket. In my understanding, a docket can only be opened by a policeman or policewoman. Am I right?
You are correct. He can give statement, but he cannot open the docket.
But he's the one who's saying he's opening docket against people. It's not me.
No.
And I'm saying, what are you going to do about that? Because now you know that he has done that and he's doing that and brazenly so, boasting that I've opened a docket against this person and this person. I've said this police station are not opening a case. He says it's opening a docket.
Maybe we need to clarify and which context of opening a docket. Maybe the reference of him opening a docket is when he either give the statement that will then be taken into the cover SAPS 3M, but he will not open the docket himself because he cannot commission a docket. He will give the statement only the commissioner of oath. In the case of a docket, a police officer will have to commission the statement that is presenting. He is not a police officer.
Yeah, in fact, because he's coming back, you'll have to answer us on that because it's himself many times that is opening docket. And I was surprised as well that understanding that there's this allegation that he has contaminated the top echelon of SAPS, IPID, IDEC, and if I may ask you, in terms of IDEC or IDEC, in your view, for them to have all the powers of arresting, because we are told that they are intimidating you as well as top echelons in the police service. What is your view on that? Can you make a comment?
They do have arresting power that was conferred to them on the proclamation that was made by the president. So they will arrest. But intimidation, I think they need to investigate cases to arrest members, and it should be the matter that warrants the arrest. They have not intimidated me because I think you said you and others. I have not yet been intimidated. Maybe they are still coming. Maybe they are still coming. So far, they haven't.
And in terms of IPID, are you happy with the way they conduct themselves?
Look, they are my colleagues. We are working, we are engaging. The fact that it's taking long to finalize my matter, the fact that they had the docket that they were not supposed to have will not make me not to have confidence in them. I think it's the matter of correcting what is wrong. That is what I believe in.
In your submission, you submitted one of the honorable members a statement, yes, one affidavit, Honorable Fidel Adams. Am I right?
That's correct.
He made a lot of allegations here about nepotism. He says that Ms. Kutso Makwela, the commissioner's daughter-in-law, reportedly joined SAPS under the circumstances which normally recruitment and vetting process appear to have been bypassed. It's alleged that the background check, qualification verification, and the competitive interview process were ignored. Is it true?
I don't know. I'm not in the HR space. Maybe HR can confirm whether that happened or
But
not.
have you ever heard of that, or is it first time?
I saw it on the statement.
Now, there's allegation against you to say that there's a cover up in the case where your cell phone, and I think you explain it vividly for us here to say that because of the SIM card, I think if you have to clear yourself, this is the time. That is alleging, because he's still going to come here as well. So it's good that we are here before him. That the evidence suggests that the stolen cell phone linked to a theft was traced to Pulani Mutaung, and relevant to the incident was reportedly obtained. However, the case was abruptly closed by Major General Sibula, and there's no record confirming whether the footage was reviewed by independent investigators. Major General Sibula, a close ally of a national commissioner, was assigned to oversee and close the file, which raised serious concern about a conflict of interest. My question is, because he is alleging that this was closed prematurely. Because you remember that you said yourself that you were still traumatized because you were once upon a time held at gunpoint. You know, hence I'm saying this country, I don't know what is happening at your level. A general, people will have the audacity to come and hold you at gunpoint. Now, understanding that this troubled you, as you said, but for him to allege that you are concealing an evidence is a serious allegation. Can you really just clarify the issue of a SIM card, that you borrowed a phone, you know, a handset, you know, and perhaps you did the so-called SIM swap, I guess. I don't know, but can you explain for us in short?
Because of my position and the operational nature, I cannot go beyond 2 to 4 hours without a contact.
Yes.
So immediately when I reported the case, I used the other phone, and the office started the process of getting the SIM swap, and they did the SIM swap and presented the card to me that they don't have a handset. Therefore, I will need to find the handset in the meantime, and the following morning, because it was already late, they will make arrangements with the office that is having loan phones to borrow the handset. So
Yes.
in the meantime, as I was waiting to get the loan phone, I had to improvise to get the handset. I did not have an alternative handset, hence I borrowed the handset to insert the SIM card so that I am reachable. So that is the reason why the phone was activated. It is the SIM swap that was activated whilst I was awaiting to have either a loan phone or a replacement of the phone, considering that the matter happened on a weekend. So I had to find the handset immediately so that I'm reachable, including that if the investigators will want to get hold of me, they will reach me. So I had to activate my number.
Thank you very much, General. How many times have you acted as the acting national commissioner in this country, if you remember?
If I include the past week, including weekend until Sunday when the national commissioner was out of office, I think it will calculate to 11 times.
Now, you've got an extensive experience for 36 years or 38 years, if I remember. That's what you told us today.
36 and a half to be precise.
Now, I want to go to the issue of border management, BMA. The role of the Border Management Authority and yourself, do they have the capacity as well to arrest, to open dockets? What is your view on that as well? Like, as I ask you about IDEC, I'm asking you now about this BMA.
With the powers conferred on the BMA officials and in terms of
Section 5 of the BMA.
Section 4, 2, and Section 5.
Yes.
The BMA Act, yes. But their arrest, they will hand over the arrested person immediately to the police for further processing. That is why it is important that the police should not work very far from them.
Do you agree that we have serious challenges in the border post?
I
Entry
agree.
and exit.
I agree, we have.
And what are you doing about it?
Prior to this directive that was given to have a revised plan, the directors general of the cluster have already summoned the nut joints to establish what we call priority committees to have teams and persons that will work. There will be a chairperson of the priority committee that will later on report to the nut joints leadership, which is myself, alongside the other two co-chairs persons and the DDGs, the deputy director generals of the department is appointed to be sitting on the nut joints.
Now, this, I think you've raised the issue that the BMA is not mandated to detect or disrupt criminal networks. Am I right?
That's correct.
And the power furthermore do not override the need for a dedicated capacity to detect and all those illegal activities as is exercised by SAPS. Now, my question would be, with the current scenario which South Africa is facing of illegal immigrants, I see you spoke about rotations, that they are rotating members. In terms of percentage, are you happy as the management of SAPS, especially as a Deputy National Commissioner, of what is happening in our border post? With all illegal immigrants coming in and out, posting, videos, how easy, and understand that as well, the South African Defence Force are involved as well in the issue of making sure that this country is protected. But this alleged corruption in the border, post, hence I'm asking, what measures are you taking? Because this thing, it's viral. It's like we don't have borders in this country.
I believe we do have borders. We just need to have a proper management of the borders, hence the establishment of the priority committee that director generals are aware of, and the fact that we are working side by side with each other in the borders. And I think what will have to come out clear is that the capacity will never enough.
Yes.
Looking at the magnitude of the problems that we are having at the borders.
With my 4 minutes left, I'm going to be quicker as well. The issue as well, because yourself, you raised it, that there's a high volume of illegal activities, such as smuggling, human trafficking, illicit trade, is often concealed under the guise of legitimate cross-border movement. Now, don't you think that there's duplication between yourself and the BMA? Hence, we have this high volume.
I don't think there is a duplication. There's a need for the coexistence. Hence, BMA will coexist with other structures such as customs, as well as the National Defence Force, equally with the police that will then be discharged with a classical policing at the borders.
Now, you remember that there was a plane landed at OR Tambo.
Yes, I know.
Those people had nothing. How possible is that? How do they bypass the immigration? Wherever country they come from, Pakistan, Bangladesh, or Ethiopia, or anywhere in the world, or Nigeria, to come to our airport, land there. What is your take on that?
Maybe it was correct that they did not pass.
Yes.
It became
Didn't pass,
topical.
yes.
It became topical because the team was alert and they were able to intercept. Engagements happen. I was called. I engaged the directors generals responsible, and the necessary implementations were undertaken, including at the ministerial level. So they did not pass any security measures. They were attended to.
Yes, I understand that. But what I was saying is that they had to be kept for hours and hours at OR Tambo. As you said, SADC, like myself, is it a problem of the SADC countries or PAP for them to allow people to leave their countries and say, you know what, South Africa is free for all? You know, but because they came with a aircraft, maybe that's where the problem was. But if they were using what these our neighboring countries are doing, crossing through the rivers, it means they will have been in this country, am I right?
Should they have used
Yes.
other forms?
Yes, yes,
And we should recall as well that they used a chartered flight.
yes.
And it was intercepted because information have reached the intelligence communities that were operating.
Thank you. General, my last comment is that General Mkhwanazi was very brave to go in public and say there's a rot in this country. We have to reset the country. And I hope that with your experience as well in the police service and your colleagues, let's not let down this country. Let the South African Police Service maintain its integrity. And let's reset, because we know now, even if it's still allegation, but there's some evidence which even a kindergarten kid can see that there's a problem in this country. Do you accept that?
I do accept.
Thank you. Thank you, General.
Jali. Honorable Cameron.